Surprised it probably didn't happen a bit earlier, really, judging by all the things that were going on last year. But it's you kind of something I said on Skype One is Lewis needed to go there with a team, so as at least they understood Lewis speak when he's inside the car, what it all means, and to interpret what Lewis really needs behind the wheel. I think he needed some help, so to really flourish there quickly. So let's see who turns up as his engineer now. But just listening to the radio and watching the performance, and although they obviously put a varnish on it, didn't they, through last season, something needed to change. That image of you in the black coat in the square, the Schumacher Square at Ferrari, one of the most iconic photographs ever in Formula One, and what a shot.
Thanks, man. That means a lot coming from you. You don't,
well, I'm not exactly
have too many positive things to always say.
Well, that's not true.
Formula One paddock. Legendary Sky Sports commentator Martin Brundle has made a prediction that has stunned both the Red Bull team and F1 fans worldwide. And guess what? The numbers don't lie. He's absolutely right.
So Lewis, when we spoke earlier in the week, you said you wanted some running in the dry. You got that today. It looked like a pretty productive morning out there. How do you sum it up from your side?
It's nice to get out in the dry and do some running, because obviously our first day was in the miserable wet weather. And it was good to get out and kind of see. Obviously I drove in Ferrari just 1 lap or 2 laps, I think we did, just to kind of fill the car. So it was great to be able to get some running and understand the tyres.
Lewis Hamilton has just recorded the fastest overall time at the 2026 Barcelona shakedown, demolishing Max Verstappen's best effort by a staggering 1.238 seconds, while Hamilton clocked a blistering 1 minute 16.348 for Ferrari. The reigning 4-time world champion could only manage 7th overall with a 1 minute 17.586. Today, we're breaking down Brundle's eerily accurate prediction, analysing what this means for the 2026 season, and asking the question everyone's thinking: is this the beginning of a new Ferrari era? Stay tuned. Let's dive straight into the data, because these numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. Lewis Hamilton, in his second season with Ferrari, topped the Barcelona shakedown timesheets with a lap time of 1 minute 16.348 seconds on the final day of testing. This was recorded on Friday, January 30th, during what many are calling Ferrari's most impressive pre-season showing in years. Now, compare that to Max Verstappen's best effort, a 1:17.586, and you're looking at a gap of 1.238 seconds. In Formula One terms, that's an eternity. That's not a tenth here or there, that's over a full second. But here's where it gets really interesting. Verstappen finished 7th overall in the timesheets. 7th! For a driver who's dominated the sport for the past several years, this is a concerning sign for Red Bull. Hamilton completed approximately 230 plus laps during his running, while Verstappen managed around 100 plus laps. Ferrari showed not just pace, but reliability, the holy grail of any new regulation cycle. And this is where Martin Brundle's prediction becomes absolutely prophetic. So what exactly did Martin Brundle say that has everyone talking? During Sky Sports' F1's coverage of the Barcelona shakedown, Brundle made some observations that, at the time, seemed like cautious optimism. But now, they look like crystal ball gazing. Brundle stated, and I quote, "You can't ignore the relentless pace and reliability that Mercedes and Ferrari have shown. Clearly, they've got really good cohesive packages." But he went even further when discussing Mercedes and Ferrari's approach to the new regulations. He said these teams look like they've aced this completely different set of regulations. Remember, this is coming from a man who's been around Formula One for decades. First as a competitive driver himself, and then as one of the sport's most respected analysts. When Brundle speaks, people listen. He specifically highlighted Mercedes' performance, noting their relentless pace and reliability can't be ignored. And while George Russell finished just 0.097 seconds behind Hamilton with a 1:16.445, it was Hamilton who ultimately took the top spot. What makes Brundle's prediction even more stunning is his warning about Red Bull. While he didn't explicitly say Red Bull would struggle, his focus on Mercedes and Ferrari's success spoke volumes about where he saw the competitive order shaping up. Let's talk about Ferrari's performance, because this is nothing short of remarkable. Hamilton set his benchmark time late on the final day of testing, a strategic move that suggests Ferrari was building confidence throughout the week. This wasn't a flash-in-the-pan lap on day one. This was a calculated demonstration of pace when it mattered most. Ferrari completed 440 laps during the shakedown, second only to Mercedes' incredible 500-lap tally. This reliability is crucial under the new 2026 regulations, where power unit management and energy deployment will be more critical than ever. And here's what has Ferrari fans excited. Hamilton's former team, Mercedes, with George Russell and rookie Kimi Antonelli both finishing in the top 5, shows that Mercedes' power units are competitive. But Ferrari proved they could beat them on pure pace. The new Ferrari SF26 appears to have a solid base package. The question is, can they maintain this advantage through development, or will Red Bull and Mercedes find answers? But perhaps the most encouraging sign for Ferrari? Hamilton looked comfortable. After a difficult 2025 season without a single podium, finishing 6th in the championship, this is exactly the fresh start both he and Ferrari needed. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. What's going on with Red Bull? Max Verstappen finishing 7th fastest overall is not what anyone expected from the 4-time world champion and his team. Yes, it's just testing. Yes, we don't know fuel loads or engine modes, but 1.238 seconds off the pace? That's alarming. Red Bull was fastest during the dry period of day 2, with Verstappen posting a 1 minute 19.580. But here's the context. That was before other teams really started pushing, and when they did, Red Bull got left behind. The team focused heavily on mileage and reliability for their new Red Bull powertrain's Ford engine, and for good reason. This is their first fully in-house power unit in the team's 20-year history. There were always going to be teething problems, but the situation got worse when Verstappen's teammate, Isaac Hadjar, suffered a significant crash on day 2. This hampered their track time considerably and put them on the back foot for the remainder of the test. Martin Brundle visited Red Bull's facilities with former team boss Christian Horner before testing, and while he was impressed by what he saw, the on-track results tell a different story. Sometimes what looks good on paper doesn't translate to the tarmac. Verstappen himself revealed he'd been unwell throughout the 5-day test, which certainly didn't help matters. But even accounting for that, Red Bull has work to do. Martin Brundle wasn't the only expert weighing in on the Barcelona shakedown results. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff, despite his team completing the most laps with 500 and showing strong pace, opted to temper expectations. He noted that several drivers, including Verstappen, appear not to have unleashed their full potential yet. Williams racing boss James Vowles cast doubt over any single team's dominance, suggesting that the kind of advantage Mercedes enjoyed in 2014 is unlikely to be repeated under these regulations. However, he did acknowledge the strength of Mercedes' engine package and its reliability during testing. Brundle himself warned that F1's 2026 cars will demand constant energy management from drivers. He expressed concern that this could push the sport away from the raw wheel-to-wheel racing fans crave. Is it as raw as literally elbows out Senna versus Mansell type stuff? No, it's not, Brundle admitted. But the toothpaste is out of the tube on that one, and we're not going to get it back in. This raises an interesting question about the nature of competition in 2026. Will we see genuine racing battles, or will it become a chess match of energy deployment and battery management? But one thing's for certain. If these Barcelona times are even remotely representative of actual pace, we're in for a fascinating season. We can't discuss these results without addressing the Lewis Hamilton storyline because it's absolutely compelling. After a difficult first season with Ferrari in 2025, his first without a single podium in his entire illustrious career, Hamilton needed this. He needed to show himself, the team, and the world that the partnership could work, and Ferrari made changes to help him succeed. Most notably, they replaced his race engineer, Riccardo Adami, following several on-track disagreements throughout 2025.
Lewis Hamilton just dropped a nuclear bombshell on retirement rumors, silencing critics with a defiant declaration about his Ferrari future. After a disastrous start to the 2025 season that has triggered intense speculation about an early exit, Hamilton has fired back with words that have sent shockwaves through the paddock. In a rare public appearance that has set social media ablaze, Hamilton confronted the mounting pressure head-on, with a message that leaves absolutely no room for interpretation. Please keep your fingers crossed. I'm not going to give up. We're going to keep getting better. Still we rise, right? Lewis Hamilton. These explosive comments appear to be a direct shot at former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher, who recently suggested that Hamilton might walk away from his Ferrari dream at the end of this season if his shocking performance decline continues. He's coming in second. Does this work better for what you're looking for? The intro is now more dramatic and attention-grabbing, using phrases like nuclear bombshell, shocking statements, sent shockwaves, and positioning the story as more confrontational.
Lewis Hamilton's officially joined Ferrari and he's already a fan favourite. The 7-time F1 champion impressed fans with his Italian. Fans couldn't get enough and reckon Duolingo's helped. Hamilton's excitement is clear, calling it one of those days he will never forget.
Hamilton's move to Ferrari was announced with great fanfare last year, but the reality has proven challenging. Through the first 5 races of the 2025 season, the 40-year-old has failed to finish higher than 5th in any Grand Prix. While there was a bright spot in China where Hamilton converted pole position into a sprint race victory, that success was short-lived, as he was later disqualified from the main race due to excessive skid block wear. The gap to teammate Charles Leclerc has been particularly concerning, with Hamilton qualifying no closer than 0.311 seconds behind in recent events, and finishing nearly 31 seconds behind in Saudi Arabia. Ralf Schumacher, brother of 7-time champion Michael Schumacher, sparked the retirement speculation during a recent appearance on Sky Germany's Backstage Pit Lane podcast. If it goes on like this, there's a risk that at some point he'll say, "Look, I don't want this anymore. I want to live my life now. I'm 40 years old. I'm so rich, I'm not doing this to myself anymore." Ralf Schumacher. Schumacher pointed to Hamilton's body language and apparent frustration, suggesting that the British driver is struggling mentally with his inability to match Leclerc's pace. Former Toro Rosso driver Jaime Alguersuari has echoed these sentiments, claiming that Hamilton's time has passed and suggesting Ferrari is not a winning team. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur has publicly backed Hamilton, dismissing concerns about his performance as overblown. Speaking after the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Vasseur insisted he remains 2,000% behind Hamilton. "I am not too worried. If you have a look on what he did in China or what he did in the race in Bahrain last week, the potential is there for sure," Fred Vasseur, Ferrari team principal. Vasseur acknowledged that Hamilton is struggling with the balance of the car and tire management, but believes these issues can be resolved. Former AlphaTauri team principal Franz Tost has offered a more technical explanation for Hamilton's difficulties, suggesting that the complexity of modern Formula One and the ground effect regulations introduced in 2022 may be at odds with Hamilton's driving style. Hamilton's example proves how complex Formula One has become, especially because it's all about hundredths of a second that can make the difference. Franz Tost. Hamilton's preferred driving style reportedly involves late braking and minute steering adjustments, techniques that can create instability with today's ground effect cars. This might explain Hamilton's frequent complaints about not being able to feel the SF25 beneath him. The upcoming Miami Grand Prix could prove crucial for Hamilton, As a sprint weekend, the lower fuel loads required for Saturday's 19-lap race might allow Ferrari to run the car in a more optimal setup. Ferrari has confirmed they will run a special one-off livery in Miami, with Hamilton, Leclerc, and Vasseur set to unveil the new-look SF25 on Wednesday. Former Haas team principal Gunther Steiner has expressed concern about Hamilton's mental state, saying he's worried about Hamilton losing his confidence and creating a backwards race of declining performance. With Hamilton's multi-year contract believed to run until the end of 2026, both driver and team will be hoping for improvements soon. The seven-time world champion's message is clear: he's not ready to walk away just yet. For F1 racing news, stay tuned for more coverage as we approach the Miami Grand Prix weekend. Breaking news in the world of Formula One as Sky Sports F1 pundit Martin Brundle delivers a stark warning to seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. According to Brundle, Hamilton is going in the wrong direction at Ferrari and appears unable to adapt to his new machinery. This comes after another disappointing qualifying session at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, where Hamilton's struggles were laid bare for all to see.
Sector 3 is the wettest.
Is more rain coming?
Negative. Just this. Hopefully. Let's see. Still raining in the pit lane.
The much-hyped move of Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari was supposed to be the fairy tale ending to an illustrious career. Instead, it's turning into something of a nightmare for the seven-time champion. At the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Hamilton qualified a distant P7, over half a second behind teammate Charles Leclerc. But it was during Free Practice 3 where the extent of Hamilton's struggles truly came to light. Let's listen to the revealing team radio exchange that caught Martin Brundle's attention. "How far am I down on the sectors?" Adami: 7/10 first sector, 4/10 second sector, and we aborted the last sector. Hamilton: "Geez."
Okay, Lewis, how was the car?
Car was very hard to drive today.
What is the problem?
So mate,
Alright, and what about the braking?
that was not good.
Okay, box this lap, please, box this lap.
Yeah, just keep working hard.
That one-word response says it all. A driver who once dominated Formula One now finding himself over a second off the pace and losing massive chunks of time in individual sectors. Martin Brundle, who has been following Hamilton's career closely for years, didn't mince words when analyzing the situation. A Formula One car goes a very long way in 7/10 of a second. No wonder Lewis was exasperated to get those numbers. But more concerning was Brundle's assessment of Hamilton's trajectory at Ferrari. He's not dialed in. In fact, I think he's going in the wrong direction with that Ferrari in terms of setup, driving style, whatever. It's not working. He seems to be falling away, rather than moving towards where he needs to be. This is particularly troubling given Hamilton's historical ability to extract performance from difficult cars. Brundle further described watching Hamilton's struggles as almost uncomfortable viewing and listening, a sentiment shared by many longtime observers of the sport. To understand the magnitude of this situation, we need to look at Hamilton's qualifying record over the past year. During his final season at Mercedes in 2024, Hamilton suffered a crushing 19-5 defeat to George Russell in qualifying. Many hoped the fresh start at Ferrari would rejuvenate Hamilton, but the pattern appears to be continuing. While he did secure a sprint pole and victory in China, a rare bright spot, he has yet to finish a Grand Prix ahead of Leclerc. Hamilton himself seems aware of the issues, telling media after Friday practice, "Normally Saturday goes backwards, but there's not a lot of backwards for me to go from where I am." A brutally honest self-assessment from a champion who appears to be running out of answers. It would be unfair to place all the blame on Hamilton. The Ferrari SF25 has shown inconsistent performance across the season, with even Leclerc struggling to extract maximum performance. During FP3 in Saudi Arabia, Leclerc radioed his team with a concerning message. "This, I feel, is the limit of the car. I cannot go faster in the corners. It's just sliding from all four tires." After qualifying, Leclerc expressed doubts about Ferrari's recent upgrades, claiming the gap to the front is pretty similar to before, despite improvements introduced in Bahrain. So while Hamilton is clearly struggling more than his teammate, there are underlying issues with the car itself that may be exacerbating his difficulties. The question now becomes, can Lewis Hamilton turn this situation around? At 40 years old and with a career spanning nearly 2 decades in Formula One, time is not on his side. The partnership with race engineer Riccardo Adami is still new, and building that crucial driver-engineer relationship takes time. However, the pace at which modern Formula One develops waits for no one, and Hamilton's multi-year contract with Ferrari means both parties need solutions quickly. With younger talents like Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen continuing to set the pace in Formula One, Hamilton faces perhaps the greatest challenge of his career, proving that he can still adapt to a new team and a different car philosophy at this stage of his career.